Alright guys, so welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna be doing something else while this is recording. Yep, alright guys. I'll probably check it at the end of the net. So yeah. Enjoy.
This radio net beats every Monday here at 8 p.m. on the 146.7 MHz WA3PBD repeater, the gateway of FM Association. Membership in the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club is not required to check in the net, as all radio amateurs are welcome. Like information about the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club, you can write to us at P.O. Box 225, Greenall, PA, zip code 15047. It's P.O. Box 225, Greenall, PA, zip code 15047. We're also on the internet, World Wide Web at www.trarc.net, www.trarc.net. Radio Club meetings are held on the third Tuesday of every month except in August and December. They start at 7 p.m. Our next meeting will be tomorrow night, the 17th, November 17th, located at Groupie's Bar and Grill at Cedar Creek, I think it's called, location 620 Boston Hollow Road, Elizabeth, PA. That's what the address is. It's actually right outside of, right out across the Boston Bridge and on Route 48, right here at 48 South. So that's tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Okay. We're open this net for check-ins as emergency or priority traffic at this time. Okay, now, does anyone have which subsided keys and our radio amateurs have recently passed away? Okay, good. I haven't heard of anything lately. Okay. Alright, we're going to take some check-ins here in a moment. If you want to check in, please give me your call sign, spell it out phonetically, and let me know if you have any announcements or comments for the net. This time I'll look at any officers at Two Rivers ARC wish to check in.
SW3OC. SW3OC, please recognize Whiskey India 3 Romeo, Roger and White Oak. Good evening, Chuck. Good evening to all on the net. No further traffic.
W3OC. W3OC, please recognize Kilo Bravo 3 Sugar Tango, Bob, Elizabeth Township. Evening, Chuck. Evening to the net. No traffic.
W3OC. Please copy Kilo Bravo 3, Uniform Whiskey Charlie, Stephen, Boston. Good evening, Chuck, and everyone else on the net. No other comments. OC. W3OC, please copy Whiskey 3, Sierra Hotel Foxtrot, Steve and Pitcairn. And I have just one general announcement that you might have it covered already, but if not, I'll have a general announcement when I have time.
W3OC, please recognize November 3, Juliet, Hotel Bravo. Jim over here, McKeesport. Good evening to everyone on the net. No other traffic.
Okay, that time I got Whiskey India 3 Radio, Kilo Bravo 3 Sugar Tango, Kilo Bravo 3 Uniform Whiskey Charlie, Whiskey 3 Sierra Hotel Fox, and November 3 Juliet Hotel Bravo. W3SHF, please go with your announcement. Okay, Chuck, I think you covered it last week, but I just wanted to say this is Steve, W3SHF, and on Wednesday nights, 8 p.m., on 146.550 Simplex, we have a GabNet, and we have relays. If we pretty good, we get around each other pretty well, and everyone's hearing each other so far. But if anyone would like to join in, that's a Wednesday night, 8 p.m. the GabNet. We're trying Simplex 146.550. All are welcome. Okay, thank you. Okay, Roger. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for the information. Okay. Any other members of the Two Rivers ARC Board of Directors wishing to check in? Okay, all right. Now looking for stations are operating mobile, portable, or outside of Allegheny County for the Two Rivers ARC net.
W3OC. There's Kilo Bravo.
Okay. W3OC. Please recognize Whiskey Alpha 3 Alpha Hotel Charlie. And Tony's name from Pittsburgh. Good evening to you, Chuck, and those on the net. No further comments. Dockets. There we go.
W3OC. This is Kilo Bravo 3, Lima November Charlie. Lenny here in the mobile. Good evening, everybody. No traffic.
W3OC. Whiskey Alpha 3 Bravo Oscar Juliet. 10 Squirrel Hill Portable. Good evening, Hugh Chuck. Good evening, Net. No traffic.
W3OC. W3OC, please copy Kilo Charlie 3, Papa X-ray uniform. Brian in Elizabeth Township on portable. Good evening, Chuck. Good evening to all on the net. No comments, no traffic.
Hey, thank you. I got Kilo Bravo 3 Victor Sierra Papa, Whiskey America 3 Alpha Hotel Charlie, Kilo Alpha 3 Kilo Echo Victor, Whiskey America 3 Papa Bravo Delta Portable, Kilo Bravo 3 Lima November Charlie Mobile, Whiskey America 3 Bravo Oscar Japan Portable, and Kilo Charlie 3 Papa X-ray Uniform Portable. Okay, anybody else? Mobile, portable, or outside of Allegheny County for the Two Rivers Net? Okay, all I got was somebody in Oakland. You're breaking up. Try again. Station in Oakland, please call again.
That was AD3AA.
Okay, Alpha Delta 3 Alpha Alpha. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Mobile, portable, or outside of Allegheny County?
W3OC. Please copy Kilo Alpha 3 Foxtrot Whiskey Quebec. Jeff from Greensburg. Good evening, everyone.
Okay, got Kilo Alpha 3 Fox Whiskey Quebec. Okay, now we'll open up for general check-in. Anyone else like to check in? That's so call them.
W3OC. This is November 3 Papa City Uniform. Checking the South Hills. Hello, Chuck, and everyone on the net. No comment. W3OC. W3OC, please copy Whiskey 3 Sierra Sierra Sierra. Sean Liberty Bro. Good evening, Chuck, and everyone else on the net. No further comment.
W3OC. Here is Bob, W3 Sierra Yankee Radio in White Oak. Good evening, Chuck, and good evening to all on the net. No traffic.
W3OC. Please copy Kilo Bravo 3, Kilo Bravo Hotel. Craig and Castle Shannon. Good evening, Chuck, and good evening to the net. I have no traffic.
W3OC. This is Kilo Alpha 3, Kilo Sierra Papa, Jim in Carnegie.
W3OC, this is Whiskey 3 Delta Tango Papa. I tried getting to you on the portable. I don't think it's working, so no traffic.
W3OC. W3OC, please recognize Kilo Charlie 3, November Foxtrot, Micah Scott Township. Good evening, Chuck, and everyone on the net. No traffic.
Okay, thank you. W3OC Net Control for the Two Rivers Net. This included, let's see what I got. I got November 3 Papa Sierra Uniform, Kilo 3 Hotel India Radio, Whiskey 3 Sierra Sierra Sierra, Whiskey 3 Sierra Yankee Radio, Kilo Bravo 3 Kilo Bravo Hotel, Kilo Alpha 3 Kilo Sugar Papa, Whiskey 3 Delta Tango Papa, and Kilo Charlie 3 November Foxtrot. Anybody else, please?
W3OC. Here's Kilo Alpha 3, Zulu Japan Whiskey. Dave and Plum. Good evening, Chuck, and everybody on the net.
Okay, Kilo Alpha 3, Zulu Japan Whiskey. Anybody else?
W3OC. Please copy November 3, Tango Alpha Yankee. Jeff in North Versailles. Good evening to you, Chuck, and everybody on the net this evening. No further comments.
Okay, M3, Tango Alpha Yankee. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. We'll stop right there. Thank you all for taking the time to check on us this evening. I do have a Newsline transmission keyed up on the computer. We'll play that. I haven't heard it yet myself. Let's see, some items that are going on. I just mentioned the Two Rivers ARC Club meetings tomorrow night at Droopy's Bar and Grill. It's located out there on at 620 Boston Holler Road. I think they call it Elizabeth, PA, but it's really it's right outside of Boston, PA, right up along the road there on Rocktown 48. All I know is if you wish to come out, it's if you come across the Boston Bridge, it's about a mile or so up the road on, I think, on the left side. So maybe some of you folks will make it out for that. The meeting starts at 7 o'clock. Okay, also the Two Rivers ARC Christmas party is coming up here in December. I think it's the 14th, I believe. I'll have to look at the calendar. I think it's the 14th, I believe. Two Rivers ARC members, you should get your information into Del W3 Delta Tango Papa so we can get a count of who's planning on coming for that. So that's coming up in a little bit. Okay, let's see. On the local front, the KDKA 100th Anniversary Amateur Radio Special Event Stations continue to keep operating as they are scheduled all month. There's been something on some stations on the air, some places within the area here, just about every day this week, or every day this month so far. Over the weekend, we saw some of the members of the North Hills ARC operate from up at KDK's, I think it's their second transmitter site up in Saxonburg, PA, at a company called 26 Incorporated. They were operating from up there, especially active on the air over the weekend. I think they recall where they were running with Kilo 3 Delta. By the way, if you don't know what that is, the call signs that are being used are Whiskey 8 X-Ray Kilo, Kilo 3 Alpha, Kilo 3 Delta, and Kilo 3 Kilo. And they're operating, some are being operated from personal homes, some are being operated from clubhouses. Pretty much almost all HF operations, AM, we had a little bit of AM early on. Single sideband CW are predominant, and of course FT8 is also in operation. I have a website, KDK100, KDK100.org, I believe is what the website is. There's a lot of, by the way, if you want to see pictures of the operation, if you go to QRZ, www.qrz.com, and bring up the special call sign, say an example with W8XK or Kilo 3 Alpha or whatever it is like that, they've been posting pictures up there of the events, and some of memorabilia have been up there too. Okay, there was also I think it's a YouTube video, I believe, put up by Duke University about KDK Radio just recently. I haven't seen it yet. It runs about 3 hours from what I've been told. I'd like to take that Sunday evening, take time to watch out for it. But it's been kind of a very fun affair for mostly everybody that's been operating. So look for KDK special event stations every day this month. Okay, I don't have any more announcements. Does anybody have any more announcements they'd like to make? This W3OC. Okay, now here, all right, let me flip over and see what's on Newsline tonight. It's W3OC.
Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2246 with a release date of Friday, November 13th, 2020, to follow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The following is a QST, a proud moment for satellite designers in Israel. Low-band operating loses a beloved leader. And the net in Australia gets a bit poetic. All this and more as Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2246 comes your way right now. From around the world, this is Newsline, Amateur Radio's first independent all-the-air news and bulletin service. Now reporting from Charleston, West Virginia, here's Jim Dameron in a TMW. We begin with a proud moment among students and faculty at Tel Aviv University in Israel. Their interdisciplinary effort will help launch a tiny satellite next year. And yes, hams will play a part, as we hear from Neil Rapp, WB9 BPG.
Amateur Radio will be on board early next year when the first nano-satellite, designed, built, and tested independently in a university setting in Israel, heads to the International Space Station. The research satellite, known as TauSat-1, is in Japan, undergoing pre-flight testing before it is taken to the U.S. for its ride on a resupply spacecraft to the ISS next year. It is designed to fly in low Earth orbit, measuring cosmic radiation in space and conducting other experiments. The small satellite, which is the creation of the new Nano Satellite Center in Tel Aviv, will orbit the Earth every 90 minutes at a speed of 27,600 kilometers or 17,150 miles per hour. It will transmit its data to a satellite station on the roof of the campus's engineering building each time it makes a pass over Israel. Much of that data will facilitate the design of improved protection for astronauts and space systems. According to an article in the Times of Israel, the satellite will also be accessible to amateur radio operators around the world before it burns up in the atmosphere. Its orbit is expected to last several months. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG.
Increasing portions of the 3 gigahertz band continue to be made available to 5G wireless companies, with the UK planning their own auction soon. Jeremy Booth, G4NJH, has that story.
Ofcom has announced that it's ready to begin its auction of 120 megahertz of bandwidth, which it hopes to provide to 5G companies in the UK. This section of the band is located above the UK amateur 9cm band at 3.40 to 3.41 gigahertz. The frequencies being offered for sale are between 3.6 gigahertz and 3.8 gigahertz, known as the mid-band region. It's also outside of the IARU region 1 9cm allocation of 3.4 to 3.475 gigahertz. The move in the UK differs from auctions in some other nations in that the UK's sale will avoid the frequencies used by amateur radio. Bidding is to commence in the UK in January 2021, and Ofcom states that applications will be received on the 2nd and 3rd of December. In the US, the FCC awarded more than 20,000 licenses for mid-band 3.5 gig spectrum in August. Chile delayed its plan for an August auction, and the telecommunications regulator Subtel expects to hold the sale this month. In Portugal, the regulator Anacom expects to award licenses in February and March of 2021, following that nation's 5G mobile telephony auction. India is also among those nations planning an auction, and telecommunications officials there hope to hold that sale in the first quarter of 2021. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
Meanwhile, in the U.S., the ARRL has reaffirmed the need for amateur secondary use on some of the microwave frequencies. Andy Morrison, K9AWM, gives us those details.
The ARRL has weighed into the World Radio Communication Conference 2023 agenda for the microwave band, reaffirming the need for amateur radio to have secondary allocations there. The League wants frequencies identified in the 3.3 to 3.4 gigahertz and the 10.0 to 10.5 gigahertz bands, stating that hams continue to experiment there and have designed KWM.
A noted DXer, a leader in low-band operations, and a friend to amateurs worldwide has become a silent key. Ed Durant, DD5LP, tells us about him.
Many amateurs in the DXing world are grieving the loss of a friend, a mentor, and a guiding spirit. John de Valdier, ON4UN, became a silent key on the 9th of November. According to a post from his daughter, Marlene, on DX World, John had been in poor health for some time. His daughter said he died peacefully at his home in Belgium. A prominent figure in low-band communications, he was celebrated by many for his friendship, his enthusiasm, and his willingness to share what he knew. Known for his extensive writing, his popular book, Low Band DXing, was the guide for many amateurs. He was elected to the CQ Magazine Contest Hall of Fame in 1997 and the CQ DXing Hall of Fame in 2008. John wrote on his QRZ page that he was a proud amateur for 59 years, having first been licensed in 1961 at the age of 20. His daughter said a digital farewell ceremony was being planned for Saturday the 21st of November. Anyone with questions can email her directly at on4un.sk@gmail.com. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Ed Durant, DD5LP.
Amateur radio is all about making connections. And in India, two long-lost childhood friends who aren't hens learned they could rely on radio to bring them together, at least virtually. Graham Kemp, VK4BB, tells us how it happened.
It is said that amateur radio is one of the best places to meet new friends. But a ham radio club in the northeastern state of Tripura recently showed that amateur radio is also one of the best ways to meet up with old friends. Just ask Chandana Basu and Sabita Roy. The two women were schoolmates 40 years ago in northern India, but after Chandana's family moved to West Bengal in 1981, the friends lost touch. They both kept their childhood memories, but also held on to hope they might see one another again, someday. That someday happened recently after Chandana acted upon her long-held wish to see her friend. She learned that the Tripura Ham Radio Club had members who might be willing to assist. She gave them her friend's old address, and the club members eventually tracked Sabito to the city of Udaipur in Rajasthan, another northern state in India. And this isn't the end of the story, however. The two women finally had their first face-to-face communications in 4 decades, arranged by the Tripura Ham Radio Club and the Calcutta Ham Radio Club. The reunion took place over a video conference which, at least for non-hams, is the closest thing to a meaningful QSO as one can get. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
One of the newest clubs in the Marianas Islands is small, but it hopes to be mighty. Here's Jim Meacham, ZL2VHF, with the details.
The Radio Amateur Marianas DX Club has only had its license since September, but they are making up for lost time. Chris Francisco Jr., club president, told the Saipan Tribune in a recent news article that the club expects to be busy in this disaster-prone Pacific Island Commonwealth, which was devastated after Super Typhoon U2 struck in 2018, with rebuilding work continuing for months afterwards. Chris told the newspaper that a ham radio club would also enable better communications with the American Red Cross and other humanitarian aid groups. The 20 or so members also hope to be available for larger scale events that are more upbeat, such as triathlons and other public events. Chris said that ham radio is nothing new in the region, and said that many of the club members had belonged to organizations that are now gone. The club recently bought a repeater, which has the call sign WH0ACH. He said there hasn't been an operating repeater in the Marianas since the typhoon destroyed the single repeater serving the region at that time. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jim Meacham, ZL2VHF.
Time for you to identify your station. We're the Amateur Radio Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the K5DUR repeater in Rowlett, Texas on Sundays at 7 p.m. local time.
W3OC.
If an emergency trailer is considered home to amateurs who belong to Aries, then this next story is surely about a home improvement project. Kevin Trotman, N5PRE, explains.
The latest homebrew project by member
members of Clay County Amateur Radio Emergency Services isn't a custom rig or a special antenna. The Florida Aries Group is busy refurbishing its Radio Shack on Wheels, a communications trailer that was donated to them after it was retired from service by the county's Emergency Operations Center. Clay Aries members have been spending time outfitting the trailer with their own state-of-the-art communications equipment and transforming it into a command center that will also accommodate hams overnight stays in extreme emergencies. Scott Roberts, KK4 ECR, the Public Information Officer for Clay Aries, told Clay Today Online that while the trailer can be deployed if necessary to help in emergencies, the hams want to enhance its capabilities in voice, satellite, digital communications, email, and texting over the air. The trailer will also be used to train new and future hams. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Kevin Trotman, N5PRE.
In our occasional series, Nets of Note, which looks at interesting and creative ways amateurs gather on the air, we visit a group of radio operators in Australia whose thoughts and words have been turning to poetry lately. Jason Daniels, VK2LAW, picks up that story from here.
Sunday nights will never be the same in VK2. For the past 2 months, amateurs have been getting off the air at 1900 hours Australian Eastern Standard Time to read poetry to one another. It's not just a Sunday night poetry fest, but a time for jokes, yarns, quizzes, and memorable stories from history. The inspiring force behind this so-called dinky die or culture net is Peter O'Brien, VK2DIE, a fan of Australian bush poetry, who one night shared the classic work The Man from Snowy River by poet Banjo Patterson during a Snowy Mountains amateur radio club net, and that got things rolling. Angelo, VK2 November Whiskey Tango, told Newsline that poetry has now been happening on the air regularly, with rhyme and reason. The net has begun to grow in popularity in the New South Wales far south coast and Monaro region. It lasts about an hour and Peter coordinates the discussion. So if you're not averse to a little verse, consider joining the net on VK2 RSE at 147.375 MHz, VK2 RFS 146.760 MHz, or VK3 RDH at 146.625 MHz. None of the repeaters require a tone, and if you're not local but have access to IRLP, join in via node 6211. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jason Daniels, VK2LAW.
In the world of DX, a disappointment for DX chasers. The KX0XD expedition to Jan Mayen Island in the Arctic Ocean has been canceled. Club Log lists the Norwegian volcanic island as the 75th most wanted DX in its recently updated list. The team announced on DX World it will be refunding donors' contributions shortly. However, Eric, LA2US, who has been active on Jan Mayen Island as JX2US since mid-October, has logged more than 6,200 QSOs. He is operating CW and some FT8 in FH submode through March 2021. QSL only via Club Log OQRS. He will upload to LOTW after his return home in April. Be listening for the call sign DP0GVN from the German Antarctic Research Station Neumayer 3, where Teresa, DC1TH, will soon be on the air. Teresa will be making QSOs via the amateur radio transponder on board the QO100 geostationary satellite. The ground station for the satellite was provided last year by AMSAT DL. QSL to DL5 EBE direct or via the DARC QSL bureaus. Logs are also uploaded to LOTW intermittently. Finally, in case you had plans to listen for David, F8AAN, operating as FS/F8AAN from St. Martin Island, starting November 18th, be advised he has canceled his plans because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Congratulations to the top performers in the recent Fox Mike Hotel Portable Operations Challenge. Results have been published, and the grand champion has been identified as Magnus Samuelsson, SA0AQT in Sweden. The amateur who made the single contact over the most in early October. Separately, we congratulate the newest winner of the Homebrew Heroes Award, an honor given by the ICQ podcast with support from the Fox Mike Hotel website. This year's award goes to George Thomas, W5JPX, who many listeners may know for his appearances on Ham Nation and as the host of AmateurLogic.tv. Homebrew Heroes recognizes efforts by those whose homebrew constructions help define the frontiers in amateur radio technology. We end this week's newscast with a history lesson, a short one, but an important one. Let's let Ralph Squillaci, KK6ITV, share it with us.
November 22nd marks the anniversary of the death of the woman believed to be one of the first licensed American YLs. Her name was Genevieve Josephine Emerson, or at least that was her name when, as a young girl in Oakland, California, she achieved a perfect score on her radio operator's exam and was issued the call sign 6APL. Genevieve, later known as Genevieve Josephine Emerson Stoller, was part of a small but important collective of female radio operators in the early 20th century, including Gladys Catherine Parkin, call sign 6SO. Gladys, who lived in San Rafael, California, was celebrated in 1916 for being the youngest female to pass the radio license test. The legacy of Gladys, who lived to be 89, and Genevieve, who was 93 when she died on November 22nd, 2002, is worth noting. Today, women are on the air everywhere and can be found in groups like Alara in Australia, Clara in Canada, and the YLRL in the United States. The recent Day of the YLs memorial contest held earlier this month around the world is a tribute to their enduring friendship and sisterhood. It is a sisterhood that finds its roots with people like Genevieve and Gladys a century ago. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Ralph Squillaci, KK6ITV. With thanks to Amateur News Weekly, Angela Guifra, VK2NWT, the ARRL, Clay Today Online, CNET, CQ Magazine, CNN, David Bihar, K7TV, DX World, the Elk Grove Floor and Amateur Radio Club, the FCC, Frank Howell, K4FMH, the Mary Sue, Northeast Now, Ohio Penn DX, QRZ.com, the Radio Society of Great Britain, the Saipan Tribune, SFGate, ShortwaveRadio.de, the Southgate Amateur Radio News, Ted Randall's QSO Radio Show, the Times of Israel, the Wireless Institute of Australia, WTWW Shortwave, and you, our listeners, that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline. Please send emails to our address at newsline@arnewsline.org. More information is available at Amateur Radio Newsline's only official website at arnewsline.org. For now, with Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team worldwide, I'm Jim Dameron, NATNW in Charleston, West Virginia, saying 73. And as always, we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2020. All rights reserved.
Good evening, 8:34 p.m.
It's W3OC, and I control the 2 sets for this week's Newsline transmission. While that was playing, I looked up a couple things I thought might be of interest tonight that I didn't previously announce. I'll try to get those in here right now. For those of you who are interested in the KDKA operation, there's scheduled to be an operation on 10 meters this evening before the breeze shooters that starts at 9 o'clock. Before and after the breeze shooters net on frequency 28480. That will be the call sign Kilo 3 Alpha. One of the operators is going to be operating that for those who would like to try that. Of course, then the net starts and then they'll run it again after the net. So you might think about that if you have 10 meter capability. By the way, the frequency 28480 megahertz. The December edition of QST Magazine just arrived. arrived in my mailbox today, and while looking through it, I noticed that excuse me, the field day results have been posted in there. I haven't looked at it that close, but it is in the December issue of QSD magazine. Also, there's been an increase in the HF activity. The solar flux has been up a little bit. The last time I looked, it was 80. The solar flux was 80 compared to 3 weeks ago it was 69. So we've seen some increase in activity on the HF bands. Bands have been pretty hopping, been pretty busy, especially over the weekend. Then they kind of go to sleep at night, I guess, a little bit in this part of the world. But I've heard that in this operator, there are operations from 160 meters all the way up through 6 meters. At times, it's not there all the time. So get a chance, check out your HF equipment. The CQ Worldwide DX contest, single sideband contest, will be coming up in a couple weekends from now, and that's usually pretty busy for that time. And one of the locals here in the area has announced that the Santa Claus net's going to be starting up again on the HF bands on frequency 3916. It's at 8:15 p.m. starting November the 27th and runs to the 24th. That's, let's see, 3916 at 8:15 Eastern Time. So you might want to listen in for that. Okay. Let's see. Does anybody need to repeat for anything important? W3OC. Now, all right, we'll take some late check-ins. Someone else like to check it? I'm done. That's what's going on. Okay, not heard. All right, well, we'll close the net at this hour at 8:38 p.m. local time, 0138 UTC. So I got 25 check-ins. Thank you all. Everybody have a good week. And you can get on the air in the HF bands. W3OC, Ultimate W3ON. Good night.
W3OC. This is Kilo Charlie 3, India, Romeo, Foxtrot, Bob, and Overbrook. Good evening. Just a late check-in.
Okay, I got you along. Thank you. Hey, good night, everybody. It's W3OC, W3ON, clear.
Alright guys, I gotta go. Yeah, see you next time. This is 73rd from Whiskey 3 Alpha Hotel Charlie. Good night.